Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2022 Athletic Brewing Ironman 70.3 Oceanside. Great to see our athletes again. We've got our two returning champions up here. But ladies and gentlemen, we are out of the COVID era. No masks. We're sitting freely and not 6 feet apart, which is absolutely fantastic because we have a great lineup here for you today. They got their athlete meeting coming up in about 1 hour from now, so we're going to plan for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then we'll get them up to their meeting on time. So, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me pleasure to introduce, we'll start at the other end right now. He is our returning champion on the men's side, hails from Tucson, Arizona. Put your hands together for Mr. Ben Canute. Hello, Ben. Welcome back. How's it feel to be back? You know, first race of the year, probably for you, and returning champion. How's it feel to be back in Oceanside?
Thanks. Can you hear me? That's good? Yeah, it's great to be back in Oceanside. Been coming here for a few years now and out to San Diego for a number of years, and it just feels like a really special place for me. Just always feel good training here. Have had some really good races here, and just looking forward to testing my fitness and getting out on this course that's just super fun to race on.
All right, thank you very much, Ben. We're going to go over to our next athlete there wearing the red shirt today. He doesn't really need any introduction, but we're going to do it anyway. He's a two-time Olympic champion. He's an Ironman champion. He's a 70.3 champion. Give it up from Leeds, England, UK, Mr. Alastair Brownlee. Grab the mic there, Ali. Yeah, that's a microphone. All right, well done. That's first. Oh, Ali, he goes red very easily too. What you up to, mate? You happy to be over this side of the pond?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I'm not appearing on Zoom or anything. COVID's mostly over, so I'm actually here in real life, which is nice. And yeah, I'm looking forward to racing.
Haven't raced here before, Alastair, so getting ready for St. George coming up on May 7th, obviously, for our World Championship Ironman to get kicked off this year. But coming into Oceanside, what are your expectations?
Yeah, obviously got some big challenges coming up this year in the next few months, but I wanted to race somewhere before those, and Oceanside fits really well. So yeah, I've had a good 6 months of long, slow, kind of steady training, and I'm just looking forward to racing and genuinely just really happy to get on a start line and be here fit and healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, got some big races coming up this year. Alastair, good luck for the weekend or tomorrow, and we wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you.
We go over to Daniela Reef, and again, another one of our legend athletes in the sport. This young lady here has 9 World Championships, 4 of those Ironman World Championships, 5 of those Ironman 70.3 World Championships, and a whole host of other Ironman wins. She's one of the strongest competitors that you've ever seen in the sport of women's Ironman and distance racing. Daniela, welcome to Oceanside. You've been here before. How does it feel to be back?
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, I'm really happy to be back. It's a great race. I have good memories from 2019 racing here, and yeah, I'm excited to hopefully show good performance. It's a tough race, and yeah, I had some good training the last months, and now, yeah, getting into the World Championship in just a few weeks, I think it's another good test to push hard and hopefully take that with me.
Is this the first race of the year for you?
No, I raced 4 weeks ago in Dubai. Yeah, I like racing. I get stronger through racing, so that's why I decided to race here. I'll go to Sedona after this and get another good block of training. So yeah, the racing helps me to know where I am and then keep working to hopefully, yeah, to improve again.
Great. Congratulations on all of your 9 World Championships. We've been very excited to know that you're going to come back to Oceanside and race again. And it seems to be very popular this year for a lot of our athletes coming from overseas, especially, you know, going on to Arizona or, you know, just in the general vicinity and training and getting ready for their World Championship coming up on May 7th in St. George. So that's great. Great to have you in the country for that long. All right, let's go over to Holly Lawrence. She was our 2016 Ironman 70.3 world champion and also a bunch of Ironman 70.3 victories under her belt. She started out on the short course side of things, but elevated herself into the next level and distance of racing and comes back to Oceanside, where she has a lot of experience down here. So, Holly, welcome to Oceanside.
Yeah, I'm excited to come back. I've raced this race quite a few times and had good days, bad days. Raced, ran half a marathon on a broken foot. Won't be forgetting that one. I think it was 2019 was the last time I raced, and it looks totally different since I come back. It hardly looks like the same place. So, yeah, just looking forward to seeing where the fitness is at.
Yeah, it's really quite cool if you're coming here for the very first time. Tomorrow is absolutely crazy up here on Pacific Street. It is standing room only, so if you're moving about, if you're a spectator, make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to get places that you need to be. But it will be spectacular to watch our athletes on the run course. This is only the run course. The bike course is way out there in Camp Pendleton, and the swim is north of us, about 1.1 miles down the road in Oceanside Harbour. All right, Holly, congratulations on an incredible career, and we cannot wait to see you running around the streets of Oceanside tomorrow morning. All right, over to the Australian, Sam Appleton, formerly of Sydney, Australia, my hometown. Sam, you've had a very, very good career. I think it's 70.3 Ironman victories out there before and a whole host of really good results at World Championship level. The question that I wanted to pose to you is that I think that this is the best field outside of the World Championships. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that this year is a pretty impressive field. A lot of guys coming up, but it's kind of to be expected, really, with the Ironman World Championships coming up in a month and a bit, to have a lot of people coming here and testing the fitness. So, but yeah, that kind of excites me. I like racing the big fields, and I think it brings out the best in me as an athlete. And it's also kind of like the other guys have said, it's a good kind of litmus test for where you're at and what you need to work on, because it's still kind of early season. It feels like a World Championship race almost, but it's kind of still the early season race for me.
It sounds, that everybody treats this as an early season race and sort of, getting the rust out of the pipes or just getting your condition going. But it seems to me that when the Australians or the Kiwis or, anyone from the Southern Hemisphere comes here in the early season and does really well, because you're coming off the back of some racing in Australia. Were you racing in Australia?
Yeah, so most of the year I actually live in Boulder, so it is still kind of my early season, but I ducked over back to Australia in February for a race. But yeah, you're right, because Australian and, the Southern Hemisphere guys are coming off their summer, so they're in good form. So there's a few Southern Hemisphere athletes that will probably be in good form out there tomorrow. But I don't think people are coming up to this race undercooked or anything. I think everyone here on the start line is ready to race. So I think everyone's in pretty good form.
So it's fair to say you're sandbagging? Answer the question, Sam.
Oh yeah, typical Australian, I think, sandbagging. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Sam. All right, let's go over to Taylor Knibb. Taylor's 24. She's just burst onto the scene the last couple of years. She's done extremely well in such a short period of time. Last year at the 2021 Olympic Games in Tokyo, 16th place over there for Taylor, and then also an incredible bronze medal at the Ironman 70.3 World Championships in St. George, Utah. And that day she showed the world that she is the real deal. Taylor, you are incredible at such a young age in these distances. Did you expect that?
No, I think that if you told me a year ago that I'd be in Oceanside a year from now, I wouldn't have believed it. So we'll see tomorrow.
I love it, when you're so young and when the smiles come out. That's... She doesn't really know what's ahead of her because there's a lot in a few years. You can just talk to Daniela afterwards. I mean, she's got all the experience. But Taylor, you've got such a big future in front of you. Specifically, how are you designing the way that you move forward? Because you're going to be working in the WTS Olympic Distance Series. You're going to be working in some 70.3 races. Can you explain your schedule this year?
Well, I don't think my schedule's finalized quite yet, but this works out really well because the WTS season doesn't start until mid-May. So it enabled me to get a race in with a 2-hour flight, one-time zone change, which I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. So it kind of just fit in perfectly. And then I'll have a WTS block, hopefully. Then maybe we'll see after that.
All right, perfect. I love the bubbly personality. That's absolutely beautiful. All right, let's go over to Rudy Von Burke here. So, Rudy, last time we chatted, I think it was a couple of years ago, it was the COVID year in 2019. Rudy was third place in the Ironman 70.3 championships in Nice in France, and what a great race day that was. Daniela absolutely obliterated the field. Rudy was in third place. Such a great field. Alastair Brownlee was there. It was a great day for Gustav Eden, but coming back down to, let's put ourselves into 2022 now, Rudy. It's a couple of years later. How have you matured over the last couple of years, and are you up at that top level again?
Well, the main thing I'd say that maybe didn't put me at the top level was when I got sick last September in mono and lost weight, lost some muscle. So for me, this is maybe the first race of a new wave of racing for me where I've had enough training back in just all year. And because I raced in Daytona at the end of 2021, but I only had a couple months of training after 6 weeks of nothing at all. So I'm hoping 2022 will bring out a new year of great results like I had in 2019.
Perfect. Just a side note, Rudy's father is also an athlete as well. He's won the World Championships in Kona quite a few times. And I just wanted to ask you this question, Rudy. How influential has your father been in your sporting life?
Well, obviously very influential because he brought me to all those races when I was young, and that's what developed the passion for me for triathlon, going at such a young age to Ironman Hawaii and Roth and all these Ironman in France and Nice. So that definitely, when you see all those guys doing an Ironman and being just so incredibly fast over such a long time, you definitely tell yourself you want to do it when you'll be older. So.
Perfect. All right. So, and lastly, it's Paula Finlay. Paula, grab the microphone there. It's incredible to have Paula back. Paula in 2012 was ranked number 1 in the world in the Olympic distance going into the Olympic Games. Some injuries put you out for a year or two, and you made your way back. And a few years back, you just got to some of the best shape of your life. You are the defending champion here tomorrow there, Paula. You have a stellar field to line up against. How is it going to play out tomorrow?
Yeah, it's really cool to be back here. It feels like I was just here racing in October, so to be back on a very familiar course, I know the bike course really well, and I think that kind of plays to my advantage a little bit. I know a lot of these athletes have raced here before, and that's cool because you can't get on Pendleton aside from the race itself. So that gives me a bit of confidence, and it's still, yeah, like Sam said, early season, but I personally am just really glad to be coming into this race healthy and having a consistent block of running. And a lot of people know that's been a struggle for me, and my main issue is like getting to start lines healthy. And so to be here healthy along this amazing field is really cool at this time of year.
Perfect. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to ask you to think about some questions that you can ask our panel here this morning. I had a couple more questions for a few of our athletes, but we do have around about another 15 to 20 minutes before we have to let our athletes head off to their pro meeting. So I do have one for Daniela. Daniela, having your 9 World Championships, you've had such longevity in the sport, 2 Olympic Games. What's left for you, and how much do you have in the tank?
Well, it's a pretty big season, so my motivation is pretty high. It's only, 4 or 5 weeks, I think, to St. George. And then Kona, I think my heart has always been burning for Kona, and to go back there this year, fingers crossed. The world doesn't face another, let's not get into that. But my motivation is high, and I'm really burning for Kona. So yeah, that's what I'm training for, and then we'll see what's next.
We have just another question, Daniela. We have some incredible courses around the world, but when we come to Oceanside for the first big race of the year, it's exciting. Everybody's ready to go. It doesn't matter if you're an American living on the East Coast coming out of the snow or the deep freeze, you're coming from Europe, and it's just exciting to get back going. Do you have those butterflies in your stomach that you normally do?
Well, I mean, I came here from Gran Canaria, and it was actually much colder here than it was in Europe. But no, I'm kidding. It's nice to be here. I love training in US and racing in US. The support is really great, and to be, in such an amazing place, having the beach and being able to race here definitely makes me excited. And I think we have a pretty nice job that we're able to go to such beautiful places.
Next question. Thank you very much, Daniela. Next question for Alastair Brownlee, being a two-time Olympic champion, Alastair, and then, coming up, you took your time to come up, into the Ironman 70.3 distance. That was, that was on purpose, and, you just had your plan and you were sticking to it. Now what's left for you at 70.3 and Ironman? I know you're going to head over, I'm not going to say exactly where it is. I don't want to blow your cover. But you're going to stay in the United States. You're going to train for St. George and then for the rest of the year. Is it a big year, or are you planning on St. George and Kona?
Yeah, well, firstly, what's left, I think, to actually win some big races. I'd like to win a world title over the different distances. It's a massive year this year in terms of other racing. At the moment, the focus is on St. George, which is in 5 weeks' time after this. And then I've got the Sub-7 Challenge, which is 4 weeks after that, which a lot of my preparation for the last few months has really been kind of based around in terms of training and some of the other kind of tech things that I've been doing to focus on that. It's a very kind of unique, specific thing. And then I think the kind of the PTO races through the middle of the summer there, I think they are the kind of significant races at that middle distance for me. And then hopefully Kona at the back end of the year. But like I said, I'm really happy to be on a start line this weekend. And after the last year or two, it's just great to be here. It's great that I've been able to train hard. It's great that I'll be able to go out and race hard and get through these first few races into June, and then I'll take stock and work out after then.
All right, perfect, Ali. Well done. Okay, I've got one more question for an athlete, and then I'm going to ask some of our crowd for some of their questions, please. These are questions you can ask anything to our athletes within reason. No personal stuff, and just all training and racing stuff. But I have one question for Ben. So, Ben, if you wouldn't mind taking the microphone there. Ben, it's always great to go back and defend a championship somewhere, but when you have a caliber of field that you're sitting here with today, can you please break down how the race is going to go? You're a great swimmer, you're a great biker, you're a great runner, you've won here before. How are you going to combat the attacks, and who are they going to come from? Let's start out with the swim.
Yeah, well, I think if I knew how the race was going to go, if we all did, we wouldn't be on the start line. There's always some surprises that happen during the race, and honestly for me, it's my plan has never been a secret. I swim hard, bike at the front, and just run as fast as I can. So I like to race on the front, and whoever's there, it's great, whether it's any of these guys at the table or somebody else further down the start list who's hungry to kind of take one of the top spots. But I think it's going to be a fast swim with a few guys up here just, really kind of pushing it. And then it'll be just on the limit probably the whole time. The bike will be tough. There's really honestly, any breaks on this course, especially if you have a group that's pushing it. And while this run course kind of looks like from the results or on paper, like it'll be super fast with the times, it's still super hard and hilly. It's pretty deceiving. So I think it's going to be a good battle with some lead changes, and people are going to be at the front trying to keep others from coming up at it. So I'd say it's hard to predict who's going to come across the line first, but I know that there's a lot of deserving people who could cross that line, and just trying to make sure that that's me.
Thank you very much, Ben. And if you're wondering where you can follow along in the race, you can always go to the App Store. You can download the Ironman tracker, and that will give you exact timing on where your favorite athlete is in the race all day long. So, for instance, number 1 or number 61. It doesn't matter. You poke that in, hit enter, and they will give you exactly where they are on the course, whether they've been through the swim, the bike, or the run, and it predicts your finish time as well. So that's the best way to follow your favorite athletes out there. So I have one question I'm going to ask 2 or 3 athletes to answer. Then we're going to go to your questions out there. All right, so now that we know that, as Eric Gilson and he was talking about at the athlete briefings, we're bringing the ocean back into Oceanside. So when I say that, we're going to have an ocean swim tomorrow, an ocean swim start. Lots of people are out there, they get a little bit nervous, maybe panic a little bit, but it's best off just to breathe. Breathe normally, take a few deep breaths. But I'm going to ask our pros to explain how it's best getting through the waves. And I think it would be best for Sam Appleton, he comes from Australia and has done a lot of ocean swimming in his life before. So Sammy, please explain to everybody, when you're starting out with a beach run into the water like that, we dolphin, we porpoise, we hold onto the sand underneath. How do you do it, and how is it best for the age groupers to do it if they're a little bit nervous?
Yeah, I think probably a pretty important thing to do before the gun goes off is to check the water depth. So just wade out and see how deep it gets and how quickly it gets, because you don't want to be running and then when it drops off, you just face plant. So you kind of want to have a bit of a strategy on how long you're going to porpoise for or push off the bottom. And yeah, I think there's a bit of swell here as well. So ducking under the waves, even holding some sand is a good way to maintain some position and things like that. But I mean, I try not to think about it too much as well. It's, growing up in Australia, kind of swimming in the ocean is what I've done since before I could walk. So, I mean, I don't think about it too much, but yeah, that's some of my tips.
Yep, second nature to an Australian, that's for sure. Holly, can you elaborate any more on that?
I mean, I wouldn't say much more than Sam, other than just, feeling it out.
This is your time on the world stage. You're right here.
I don't want to
say hi to Facebook.
Away.
I mean, come on, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, just feeling it out beforehand. It's only getting out. Like, you don't have to worry about catching a wave on the way in. So, just if a big wave's coming, just to duck under, pop out, and just kind of be smart with it.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Holly and Sam. So, going to take a few questions from our crowd here before we let our athletes head off to their next meeting. So, hands up and ask me the question. I'll repeat the question. We are taping right now. This will be up on Facebook a little bit later today. Water temperature right now is 59 degrees. Don't forget, in the morning, you can go to Tower 14 at the start, which is going to be on the left side, which is the southern side. That is the area where you do your swim warm-up. There is no swim warm-up on the course or to the right or the north side of it. I can also tell you that the first buoy is going to be a red turn buoy, and that is at 350 metres out before you head toward the ocean. Before you head to the jetty, you go through the jetty, through the opening, and then you hug right all the way back into the finish line. Questions, please. Here we go in the front. What's your question? Taylor, are you going to be riding a road bike or a TT bike?
I have a new time trial bike, so yes, I will be riding a time trial bike. Oh,
yippee. How much time have you spent on your time trial bike, Taylor?
I don't know the exact hours, but I've had it for about 10 weeks, 2.5 months, so I've ridden it a fair amount.
How do you feel as opposed to riding a road bike in that position, getting off and running?
We'll see tomorrow.
Okay. She's not giving up anything. That's a wily cat right there. All right, next question. Come on, we've got to have another question out there somewhere. There's a prize. You can drink all the non-alcoholic beer in that can right there. All right, we got one right here. What's your question?
Same question. What made it change from a road bike to a TT bike?
So they're pretty much the same question, but what made you change, and is that your sponsor? No, I'm just kidding. All right, what made you change over to the TT bike?
Well, it was more that at the end of last year, I really didn't have time to get a new bike and acclimate to it, or at least that's what I felt like. My 70.3s were within 6 weeks of each other, and so within that time, I was racing a fair amount, and I just didn't think it was smart. So now I've been able to spend a lot of time on it. I have a great new bike, and hopefully you'll see it out there tomorrow.
All right, perfect. And I think that was a smart play. All right, next question. Got a question out there, right here.
What do the athletes eat all day? Is it all gels or is it any fun?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let's talk a little bit about nutrition. So question is, and maybe we can have Paula and Rudy and maybe Danny talk on this one. Talk a little bit about race day nutrition. Why don't you talk about what you do when you wake up in the morning at 3:30 or whatever it is and go through your race day plan?
Yeah, I try to keep things as consistent as possible from every other race I've done, so nothing new, and just having like a bagel first thing in the morning, even if you're not hungry. Same nutrition on the bike. I take 2 gels usually and all of my fluid, and then taking course nutrition on the run with a few gels from transition. So I think the key is just to not try anything new and make sure your stomach is happy with it in training before you show up on race day.
Rudy, what do you do for your race plan?
So typically in the morning, I have just white bread and jam, toasted. Important.
Butter? No butter?
No butter.
No butter?
No.
Okay.
And usually it's about 6 to 7 slices with half a jar of jam. And then then I just have a gel before swimming, and then on the bike it's only liquids. And then on the run, my new tactic is to just have 3 gels that I already have in my tri-suit, and then only water at the aid stations. Because I used to have nothing in my tri-suit, and then I'm just going through the aid stations trying to get too many glasses. And it's all sorts, like Red Bull, Coke, and all sorts of other stuff. So
Well, he's nice and young. He's going off the sugar right over here. I get up and have 6 or 7 slices of Vegemite on toast, and look at me. I look like the Michelin Man.
the
I can't do that.
idea is 1 slice per 10 kilos of body weight.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I look like I do. All right, here we go. All right, over to Danny. Well, we know Danny's going to be drinking Red Bull halfway through the bike. But anyway, Danny, go ahead.
I actually don't have it in race, but in the morning to get up. But I mean, yeah, nutrition, especially race nutrition, is very personal. I think the most important thing is to get the calories in because that's what our bodies need. And whatever it is, I think I would always give the advice to eat something you're used to and that has like the least fiber possible, because fiber is not very good during the race or for the race, because you might have to stop somewhere at the toilet. So yeah, for me, I take really like white bread and tahine, it's like sesame spread, or just butter, and yeah, mostly like carb powder before the race. I try to focus on long chain carb powder because it really helps to not fall straight into a hole even already before the start. And then during the race, I mean, that's so individual, but I mean, I take mostly just fluids, carb powders, and then gels on the run. But also there, I mean, if you have something you like to snack, go for the snack, because if you have the energy, it's better than, like, stopping at the toilet is better than having no energy, because if you have no energy, you won't make it to the finish line.
All right, perfect. And mentioning what Danielle just mentioned, there are plenty of portaloos available for you tomorrow morning in transition as well. So don't forget to bring your snacks. Don't forget to bring all your race day nutrition as well. All right, we've got a couple of more minutes before we close down and let our athletes head off to their pro meeting here. So do we have one more question right here in the front in the green? So has anyone not done the bike course here before? Taylor and Ali. Okay, let's have Taylor and Ali answer this question, and then we'll wrap up. Taylor and Ali, the question is, for not being able to see the course or ride on the course before, how do you prepare for it? Go ahead, Taylor. Ladies first.
Well, I was looking forward to hearing what he said so that I could have a better strategy. But
Not only is she 24, but she's smart.
Well, but I think that I have a plan in terms of power and kind of how I want to race it. And also, I'm taking it as an opportunity because you don't always get to see the race course before you race. And so it's going to be a learning experience for me tomorrow. And so both in viewing it as a learning opportunity, that kind of helps me. But we'll see how that goes. So I might be saying something very different in about 24 hours from now.
Just before you start, Ali, this is an active military base that you will be riding on tomorrow. That's the reason why you cannot get out there and preview it. This afternoon, do not attempt to go out there in your car and try and preview the course. You'll be turned around. Ali?
Yeah, obviously, ideally, I would have already seen the course, but but I haven't. So, yeah, like Taylor said, I've got a kind of general plan of the power I'd like to ride. Maybe have my head up a bit more than normal so I can see where I'm going, look out for any holes and junctions. And apart from that, mostly probably just follow Ben, actually. Be all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your undivided attention today. Oh, one more. There's always one more. We're out of time. You're going to have to pay for that. All right, here we go.
Brownlee, what is your plan for tomorrow to stop Rudy from sneaking up on you that you did on Nice?
It's not specifically, my plan isn't specifically just about what Rudy's going to do, but in general, yeah, I mean, I've got an idea of, I guess, how hard I want to ride. I guess an idea of who else is going to be riding around me. And fail that, just a very simple plan of swim as hard as I can, ride as hard as I can for a couple of hours, and run as hard as I can. And if someone catches me and goes past me, there's not a lot I can do about it. Well, I think Ben and I have probably raced together quite a few times at 70.3 distance in that form. We both swim pretty similar and ride quite similar. So, yeah, I think there'll probably be a few others as well. And, yeah, we'll be riding as hard as we can and hope that people don't catch up.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be treated to an incredible experience tomorrow. You're talking about world champions, Olympic champions, Ironman world champions right on this stage. Why don't you give it up for all of our athletes here on our pro athlete panel today? Paula Finlay, the defending champion. We got Rudy Von Burke, bronze medalist in the World Championships. Taylor Knibb, Olympian and bronze medalist at the St. George Ironman 70.3 World Championship last year. Sam Appleton, 15-time Ironman 70.3 champion, 2016 Ironman World Champion 70.3. Holly Lawrence, the 9-time World Champion Ironman and Ironman 70.3. Daniela Reef, 2-time Olympic champion, Mr. Alastair Brownlee. And give it up for America's defending champion, Ben Canute. All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Up next, at 2 o'clock, we have our athlete briefing here. And at 4 o'clock, another briefing. But don't go away, because at 5 o'clock this afternoon, the most important race of the weekend, Iron Kids. Come on down, support our kids. Thank you very much.